Hi, this is Vyoma Rao from the Finance Story, and today we are interviewing one such fintech founder who has created a business that makes personal finance seamless and accessible for all. I'm pleased to welcome Mr. Seemant Shrivastav, the co-founder of Mool Innovation Labs. Hello, sir. It's a pleasure meeting you. So, sir, tell us something about your background. Where are you from? Where do you belong? And how did you get into this journey of in the space of finance?
Yeah. So I am originally from a city called Nagpur. It's in central India. So I have been born and brought up there. And I hail from a family of lawyers, teachers, and engineers. So finance was a little outlier as a career as far as I am concerned. But there are certain things which happen by destiny or design, I would say. So when I was in my HSC and planning to pursue engineering, around that time, I was persuaded by my elder brother, who himself is an engineer, to explore finance as a career. So after a bit of nudge and push, I kind of agreed to take up finance as a career. And then after completing my CA, I moved to Mumbai and worked in the industry for almost 10, 12 years before I went into consulting. So I have been with companies like Johnson Tiles, Highland FS, Future Group, and my last stint was as CFO of Payback, which is a coalition loyalty program. After Payback, I started working mostly with startups as a virtual CFO and consulting CFO. And in the last 8-10 years, I have worked with all industries, right from not only FinTech, but health tech, Edutech, food tech, pharma, then lot to do with the brick and mortar businesses, also around manufacturing. And it's been a well-rounded experience as far as I am concerned in finance. And finance, I look at it as a horizontal rather than a vertical, which kind of runs across various industries.
Absolutely. So you have a stellar career progression and years of experience in the field of finance. Now, finance, I understand that you got a nudge from your family and then that's how you landed there. But why fintech?
So fintech as a word I got introduced maybe 5-6 years ago when I saw a lot of companies bursting on the scene, leveraging technology and kind of using the tech stack to kind of disrupt business models and scale up very, very fast. And that's something which kind of caught my attention. And I was like, this can be game changer in the future and I need to do something. So I have been keeping an eye on this space for last at least 6 years or so. But as far as my foray is concerned, again, a lot of things, as I mentioned, happen by destiny. So this is also something which happened by destiny, wherein I was consulting a company called Reverie Language Technologies, and this is into language localization and content delivery in local Indian language. So I was their virtual CFO from 2015 till 2020, almost 5 years. And during this period, the company not only raised Series A, but eventually got sold to Reliance Industries. So when you work with co-founders for a long time, they become more of friends rather than clients. And that's what happened with the founders of Reverie also. So co-founder of Reverie, Vivek, and his wife Subhashri were good friends always. And during one of the meetings, we were kind of chatting. And one common pain point came up, which is around this whole taxation issue for individuals, which is there. And as far as salaried people are concerned, they are like taxed the most. And that's where the Mool idea got born.
Okay. That's an interesting journey. So you mentioned that you don't come from a family of entrepreneurs and you don't have that kind of capital to that your family would pour into your ventures. So why did you say that, going in management consultancy was a better way to, transition into something of your own?
Yeah, so two things. First is you get to study business models as far as management consulting is concerned, because again, as I mentioned earlier, that finance being a horizontal, you can work across industries. And my industry background also has been such that I worked in manufacturing, I worked in BFSI, I worked in retail, where I was heading marketing commercial, and then I was a CFO of a coalition loyalty program. So during my working years also, I got a whole well-rounded experience, and last 10 years also, I have been working with various industries, various companies across verticals. So that gave me insights not only about the brick and mortar businesses, but also insights about how some of these new age tech businesses are running and how they grow and what are the levers which drive these businesses. So that has helped me honestly. And in the process, I was able to create connects in the industry. I was able to create networks which can be leveraged as and when we can want to scale up. So all these things actually has helped. If I had jumped maybe 10 years ago when I quit my job, I would have struggled, or maybe I would have failed very, very early.
So you very rightly pointed that out. And being a problem solver is something that is inevitable when you are leading a company. So with that, I would like to transition to the company that you founded with Subhashri Mishra, which is Mool Innovation Labs. How did the idea for Mool Innovation come about?
If I have to explain more in detail, this happened over a dinner and a beer session at Subhashri's home, where Subhashri, Vivek, me, and couple of common friends were sitting, and this discussion came up that the salaried people go through a lot of pain because the tax is very, very standardized there, and most companies don't, especially in the old regime, if you are aware about the tax laws, there are a lot of options around tax planning and saving. But most companies have a cookie cutter approach, like they will give a very standardized salary structure, and the poor employee ends up paying more taxes. Because in India, if you see, except for people who have finance knowledge, people really don't know much about tax. And Vivek narrated his own instance that when he was starting out his career, he when he got an offer letter, he thought, okay, I will get this CTC divided by 12. And when he got it, it was maybe 30-40% less. And he was left confounded. So he said, like, it took me years to kind of understand this. And that pain resonated with me also, despite me having tax knowledge. It took me maybe not years, but maybe a couple of weeks to understand, okay, my money has gone on all these things.
Yes.
So I said, yeah, I totally understand your pain point, but what can we do about it? So he was quick to say that, okay, I can start and maybe write the initial code, but you need to set up a team. And since I am employed, I really can't join you guys. But yeah, Subhashri can join. So that's where we started. But then I said that maybe we need to make this goal bigger. And why only salaried people? Everybody pays taxes and everybody needs to do financial planning. So that's where the idea of Mool was born, and we started. I would say that the whole idea to plan thing was done within a span of maybe 2-3 months max. It's the execution which has took us time, and actually execution is the key. I mean, that's what it is important.
Absolutely. So when you mentioned that, this is a fintech company, you represent the finance aspect of it, but the tech aspect was represented by Subhashri and Vivek, as we know. So what was their role?
Yeah, Subhashri is also a finance professional.
Okay.
So it's FinFin only as far as the co-founders are concerned. The initial tech support was given by Vivek for the few months, I would say, but now Vivek is also more involved in his own ventures and all. But what Vivek did help us was put up a initial tech team. And that was also very important because we both hailing from a finance background, we were a little clueless in terms of how to set up a initial tech team. But God has been kind. We have been able to put together a very sound tech team, and which is well motivated and led by our product head Jyoti. And there are a lot of good engineers in the team who are kind of performing their roles very, very meticulously.
Okay. Tell us more about the product that Mool has created and what exactly does it do? So if I'm an individual and I'm preparing to file my tax
Mhm.
returns, is it
Mhm.
helping me in the compliance, or is it also helping me after the compliance for understanding if there are any discrepancies?
Okay, so right now the way we have structured Mool, it's a B2B2C product. Okay, so because if you see under the income head salaries, if you have to take the maximum possible gain, then you need to have your employer on board, because a lot of these allowances and deductions and perquisites are enabled via the employer. In your hand as an individual, you have maybe the chapter 6A deductions and certain housing and other allowances which you can claim as a benefit, but the rest of the stuff is pretty much enabled by the employer. So what we did is we consciously have structured the product as a B2B2C. Right now we are pitching to organizations who are having a more modern approach to salaries, because there are a lot of these large organizations and maybe PSU or companies which are, I would say, the old style Lala companies. They have a very rigid salary structure, and unless you have an approach in terms of a flexible approach, then Mool will not benefit you. So what we have done is we have tried to capture a personalized approach to salary structuring, because if you would appreciate, no two individuals are the same. So everybody's like as different as chalk and cheese. So let's say you are employed with a company and you have a colleague who's also at the same designation, and both of you are at the same level and the same CTC, but your financial requirements and your colleague's financial requirements might be different. Let's say you are single, your colleague is married and with kids and then stays in a joint family. So his requirements vis-a-vis your requirements might be very, very different. You being single, you might want maybe a HRA or a LTA to go to hometown and stuff like that. The other person might be having a home loan and stuff like that. So depending on the personal information, our algorithm is designed in such a way that it captures the personal information, and then broadly two choices are given to the individual. Maximize my take home salary, because let's say if you have home loans or car loans, you want to have more in hand as a salary. So that option is given, and the other option is minimize my taxation. So one of the two options being chosen by the employee, based on that, a very personalized unique salary structure is given. So between you and your colleague at the same CTC also, you might have a very different basic, different HRA, different other allowances, perquisites and stuff like that. So that's what Mool does. First understands your requirement and thus auto generation of a salary structure which is suited to you.
Okay, so you mentioned that the current functionality of Mool is B2B2C. And in this particular concept, when you explain what Mool does, you said that as a person who's using it, you can structure your own taxes and you can structure the way you want your CTC to be disbursed to you. How does the B2B and B2C aspect work? So
Okay.
do you give this particular benefit to the employer and then it is passed on? And what is Mool's role in it?
Okay. So we have broadly three modules as a product offering. One is called Mool Vetan, which is Vetan, as you know, is salary. So Mool Vetan is actually a personalization tool, and along with it, it has a payroll, tax compliance, and management tool, including HRMS. The Mool Journ is an end user, which is the B2C angle, which is as of now via the website, but we are coming up with the app also by next month. So that is something which will be used by the employees to after the initial setup is done. So how this works is, let's say your organization signs up with me as a client. Then Mool, what will it do is it will onboard all the employees as an initial setup into the payroll system. And while initial setup, each employee is given a choice that could be registered by your HR, that what kind of structure would you like to go. So initial demogs are set up and the choice is also taken from the employee. that you want maximum take home or you want a minimum amount of tax. Based on the employee's choice, a unique structure is generated. Once this initial setup is done, then the employee can see what structure has been generated. And there is a slider also within the app and within the website by which the employee can swing between maximum take home and minimum tax. And the structure keeps on changing. And that can be done month on month. So maybe for the first 9 months of every financial year, we are allowing this. Last 3 months is typically for tax balancing and kind of ensuring that the liabilities are paid off. So that is disabled during the last 3 months. But basically, there is a Mool Vetan, which is a HRMS payroll management system. A Mool Jan, which is B2C product, wherein by employees not only can manage their salaries, but also do investments, submit proofs of investments, attendance management, and a lot of document workflow management. So we have built this for not only CAs, but any third-party payroll operators who are running payroll for multiple companies. So they can kind of run it for all their clients under one head. And incidentally, since we are talking about CA and you both of us are CA, I would also like to announce here that Mool Lekhakar is totally free for chartered accountants. We are not charging anything from CAs.
Okay, that's an interesting news. My first question is that is it an expensive affair? Should they go with their own funds or they should go with raising money at the very outset? That is my first question.
No, I would definitely not recommend raising money unless it's from friends and family and at a very benign terms. External investment comes at a cost. That's one. Second thing, you might end up either diluting too much or you might end up with a person who is kind of micromanaging you as an investor. Both situations are a little risky propositions, honestly. So at Mool also, we scaled up to a level before we did our series seed round, I would say right now. So that's very, very important that you don't raise money from external investors too early. Otherwise, it could be a problem. So my recommendation is try to bootstrap as much as possible.
So you had the opportunity that you had an initial help from a friend who could set up a tech team for you. For a person who is, only from a financial background, if they want to set up a tech team, what kind of, thought process should go around in terms of weaknesses, focusing on the weaknesses in that business?
See, from a technology point of view, couple of things which I have personally done because I knew that I cannot rely on maybe Vivek or anybody's help as far as scaling up Mool is concerned. Initially, he will do the handholding, but he has his own business and other things to look at. So I knew I couldn't rely in the long run. So what I have done in the past few months or so, I mean, last 1 year, I would say more specifically, is read up more and more on technology, learn a bit about technology. I spend a lot of time with my tech team, understanding how they are building it. So, and see, the beauty today is there's a lot of resources available on the internet. Even if I want to learn coding, I've learned a bit of Python coding. And also I'm right now learning about how to build products, especially SaaS products and what kind of stack we should look at. But all this is now available almost literally free on YouTube and other resources. Even if you don't want to spend on, let's say, a paid courses of like LinkedIn or Udemy or any of these courses, there are a lot of free resources on the internet. All you need to do is find and learn. If the attitude is there, you will learn it.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing so much insights about how to run a business. Thank you, sir, for sharing so much information, so much value proposition that you shared in terms of whether it is in terms of SWOT analysis or it is in terms of learning, unlearning, and relearning. We learned a lot from you. Thank you for being with us.